I'm Michael Bain, and welcome to Triggered, coming to you not from the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains, and not from Dragon House Studios, but rather from a chicken farm. This isn't the story we planned to tell you today. We were going to do this whole show on these two Glock 48s, really interesting. We're going to be out shooting them on my range. We're going to be doing a lot of things. However, the Cameron Peak fire, the largest wildfire in Colorado history, turned out to have a bigger say in that. In fact, as we speak right now, that fire has the secret hidden bunker and Dragon House Studios and our home in its sights. So we were forced to evacuate. Luckily, we have a good friend who has a chicken farm, took all of us, all the animals in, and we decided to answer an age-old question. Every time a lot of gun owners get together, there's this conversation where they say, hey, if you had to run out of the house and just grab what you could, what would you take? Well, I can now answer that question authoritatively. And I also want to point out to you that you have no idea how hard it is to work to this kind of live audience. But hey, I want to talk a little bit about guns, partly to give me something to do other than worrying about that huge plume of smoke way back there. The first thing you pick up when you gotta run is working guns. And for me, always, it's going to be a Glock 19. We've talked a lot over the years that when you talk about the SHTF, or when the Schumer hits the fan, what kind of handgun do you want to have? And I've told you that I made that choice years ago. It's a Glock 19. So I have several Glock 19s with me. If I have 3 Glock 19s, I can keep them running up to and through the apocalypse. This particular gun is one of my favorites. You'll notice it's made by Gabe Suarez. It's on a frame that was essentially a Larry Vickers frame. This, my Wilson Combat Glock 19 and my spare always go with me. So always Glock 19, 9mm. Then it starts getting harder because you want to take guns that mean something to you. Guns that have a certain importance to you. And I wanted to show you what and why I ran out the door with. This is a Colt Woodsman. This was a gift from my parents on my 18th birthday. Interestingly enough, I'd asked for a Ruger Mark III, but they didn't pay a whit of attention to me. They didn't ever pay much of a whit of attention to me. But my mother shot bullseye with a Target Colt Woodsman. She was in a bullseye league. Every week she shot bullseye. And at the time, they couldn't find a Target model, but they found this adjustable sight model Woodsman. So, as you can see, I mean, it is one of the great 22s in the world. It breaks my heart that they're not still in production. But obviously, a gun that is a gift from your parents on your 18th birthday, you know that gun is going to go with you. They did give me a Smith & Wesson revolver on my 12th birthday because I'm from the South. And when you're from the South, that's what people in the South do. But that gun is with Bobby Tyler, and you're going to see it when it comes back. Another gun that I would never, ever walk away from is a 1911. It's not the only 1911 I carried out of my house, but it's the one I want to show you today. It's one you've seen before. This is a plain old Remington Rand 1911 my father carried in the Pacific. He wasn't in the Pacific for long, but he was long enough to kill people, to be in some hellish battles. This is the gun that he had on his side in the Pacific. This is the gun that's marked U.S. property that came home with him from the war, from World War II. By the time it came into my hands, it was so gunked up you couldn't even rack the slide. It had, I don't know, 1944 Cosmoline in it that had set up pretty much on par with marble. I had to actually disassemble this gun and leave it in an ultrasonic cleaner for a week, I swear to you, before I was able to chip all the gunk off of it. The ironic thing was when my father gave it to me, because this is a terrible gun, because it won't run. He goes, I was lucky I didn't have to kill more than one person with it. We'll let that go. Rest his soul, I'm sure it's true. He goes, it doesn't work. The trigger's awful. It barely fires. It turns out when you clean a couple of pounds of cosmoline glunk out of it, it runs 100%. Show you one of my sweetie's guns. I asked her, I said, we got to run, sweetie. What do I take? She said, I won't leave the house without my STI. This is an STI 9mm edge. I can make an argument that this is one of the finest out-of-the-box semi-autos ever made by man on earth. It is a wonderful gun. I shot competition with a .40 caliber edge. I really heard from the guy I sold it to really recently. He goes, you know what, I'm still shooting competition with it. But this is my sweetie's competition gun. She shot 3-gun, she shot USPSA with it, and she goes, make sure you get all the magazines too. So the gun, all the magazines are with us. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about running guns.
The revolutionary TCM from Rock Island Armory. Fire it once and you'll be hooked. The first thing you'll notice is its sonic boom and enormous muzzle flash as it hurls the exclusive Armscore 22 TCM round downrange at a blistering 2,000 feet per second with penetrating impact. It shoots surprisingly easy with light recoil. The 17-round TCM series, so fun to shoot, it's like a thrill ride, only better.
Welcome back to Triggered and our special chicken run episode. We're with the chickens. We're on the run from the Cameron Peak fire, far too near the secret hidden bunker. And I'm talking about guns that, hey, when you gotta run, you gotta run. And I'll show you another couple of those guns that I chose to run with. This is a Ruger Blackhawk, early 60s, late 50s, a very early model. And interestingly enough, this is an old cowboy gun from Wyoming. When I got it, every single part of it was broken. Every single part of it was rusted. You could barely cock it. It was a mess. A local gun store had taken it in trade because they knew I really, really loved old Ruger Blackhawks. So I was thinking about this gun for a long time. The first the first center fire pistol I ever shot was .357 Ruger Blackhawk. My father's gun, now long since lost. So after my father's death, I wanted to build a gun that I saw as an homage to him teaching me to shoot, even though he did so incorrectly. So Dave Clemens Custom Guns, built this for me. I told him I wanted the most accurate .357 Blackhawk on earth. And he goes, what's my budget? I said, there is no budget. Get it done. Do it the best of your ability. And it is all of those things. It is line board. This gun went with me to the very first gun sight, single action self-defense class. I shot the single best group offhand I've ever shot, 15 yards offhand, .357, 125 grain jacketed hollow point into a single hole. That is a testament to Dave Clements' ability to build a gun. Girls, calm down. Calm down. That's really clucked up, you know, when you really think about this. But this gun is an homage to my father. It is, I believe, the greatest, most accurate .357 Ruger Blackhawk on earth, and I can never, ever imagine being without it. As long as we're talking about Rugers, how could I leave this? From Cylinder and Slide, Sean McSheedy. This is a GP 100. It's from Lipsy's, but it is in 10mm. So I talked to Sean at Cylinder and Slide, and we built this gun up. We thought, well, maybe it's a self-defense gun. Maybe it's a hunting gun. Look at the wood. Wood, custom checkered by Sean. Everything about this gun comes in as, well, for lack of a better word, perfect. Got a JP red dot sight on it. It's light. Boy, it's a gun that, once again, I couldn't quite imagine being without. Now, I don't want to be all serious about this, because sometimes when you run out the door, I mean, come on, you never know what you're going to come up against. And I looked at this in my safe. This is a BFR, Magnum Research BFR in 4570. It is the stupidest gun I own. I'm not going to lie to you. That's right, girls. I mean, here, I know you like it. I mean, this is the kind of gun that would appeal to a chicken run. But the more I looked at it, the more I thought, you know what? You never know when I'm going to run across a dinosaur. Tyrannosaurus Rex, Allosaurus, one of those damn velociraptors, and you know where there's one velociraptor, there's a pack. Remember that, girls. I'm pretty sure this fence is not velociraptor proof. So I decided that what the heck, I got a little room, 4570 BFR goes with me, because really, I can't imagine not having it. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about long guns, hunting guns, and things like that. Stay with us. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Franklin Armory, the home of innovation in firearms. Volquartsen, engineering the world's best rimfires. TAURUS, USA, designed to protect. Lipsy's and their great Guns of the Month. And Revolution Targets, 21st Century Steel. Welcome back to Triggered and Chicken Run. We're talking about which guns you take when you run out of the house, because that's exactly what I had to do Wednesday night. When you can stand in your yard at the secret hidden bunker and you can look across a valley and you can see the fire running along the ridge, you know it's time to go. I took probably a disproportionate amount of lever guns. I did take working guns. I put my Galil. I took my SIG 5.56 suppressed. I took my 870 pump. You know why? Because those are core guns. Those are guns that no matter what happens, let's say I can't get back in the house till after the election, Civil War II starts. You never know. But I focused on the long guns because they're my loves. They're the guns that appeal to me more than anything else. Ironically, somebody sent me an email and said, well, why didn't you take your hunting guns? I said, let's clarify this. I have a Henry in 327 Magnum. I have a Winchester in 357 Magnum. I have a Henry in 44 Magnum. I have a Marlin in 4570. I have a Winchester in 405 Winchester, and I have a Bighorn Armory in 500 Magnum. What exactly can you not hunt in this country with that battery of guns? I have just found more than anything else that these guns, lever guns, something I've loved since I was a kid, really. So my very first centerfire rifle was a Winchester 30-30. And yes, I have my pre-64 Winchester 30-30 with me because, once again, they're guns that I consider treasures. And just look at this guy, this Bighorn Armory 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. I did have some slick up work done on it because when you shoot a lot of lever actions, you become relatively pissy about how you want them to run. I want all my guns to run exactly the same. Not necessarily possible, but I'm pretty close to it. If you take a look at this guy, it's got a Skinner peep sight on it. I'm a believer in Skinner peep sights. This forward mounted rail will carry a scout scope, or it'll carry a red dot sight. Typically, all these big boomer cartridges, when you're looking at my 4570 Buffalo rifle, and once again, I'm just looking around here. I mean, we got chickens, we got ducks, we got turkeys. There may well be a Cape Buffalo right over there in that field. I don't know, but I'm good to go. I want a red dot sight. Typically, I like Trijicon miniature rifle optics because they are excellent world-class red dot sights. Everything about this gun is perfect. If it's not a Cape Buffalo, if it's, say, I don't know, a water buffalo, perhaps a bison, something along those lines. This is a first generation Henry, 44 Magnum, very early, I think first year production Henry. I've had it rebuilt a couple of times to get it to what you see here. This is all absolutely top end wood, had this little bit extended lever made for it, or had Henry overhaul it. You'll notice it's not even drilled and tapped for a sight, although Andy Larson at Skinner swears he's going to be able to change my mind on that one of these days. The trigger pull is as flawless a trigger pull as I've ever felt on a lever action rifle. It is about 2 pounds, absolutely crisp. This is a great gun. 44 Magnum, the most perfect caliber on earth. I think we all know that. In addition to the lever guns, and as I said, I've got them 327, 357, 44 Magnum, 4570, 405 Winchester, and 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. If my 50 Alaskan had come back from SSK Industries, believe me, it would be on this table. Yes, truck noise, motorcycle noise, airplane noise, apocalyptic noise. The only guns I took that were not lever actions were what we would consider working guns. My SIG 5.56 with a suppressor on it, my Galil in 308. Once again, great thing about a Galil in 308, it's the ultimate multiple purpose rifle. It is what Jeff Cooper had in mind when he talked about scout rifle, talked about a general purpose rifle. So, you know, I wish I could take them all, and I took as many as I could with me. You just never know. I can tell you this, though. There is no worse feeling on earth than walking out of your house and thinking that might be the last time you walk out of your house. There's no worse feeling on earth than watching a fire which has no heart, which has no soul, which is nothing but fury looking at you. I hope to God, if you will, that none of you ever have to go through that. So hopefully by the time you see this, we'll either be back in the secret hidden bunker or we'll be planning secret hidden bunker 2. Girls, please don't rush me. There'll be autographs for all of you. I'll sign pictures with all of you. Working with a live audience is terrifying. I'm Michael Bain. We will see you next week on Triggered, no matter what. That's for me, by the way. Think nothing of it. Really. Want some eggs?